smash that subscribe button if you're here to learn. Today we're talking about something that every business owner running paid advertising needs to understand: how to actually know whether your ads are making you money. Most business owners running Google or Meta ads are operating with an uncomfortable gap between what they're spending and what they actually know about what they're getting back. The dashboard shows clicks, it shows impressions, it might even show conversions, but does any of that connect to real revenue? Do you know your actual cost per customer? Do you know which campaigns are profitable and which ones are quietly draining your budget? If those questions make you a little uncomfortable, this video is for you. Let's start with the math. The basic ROI formula is straightforward. Take the revenue your ads generated, subtract what you spent on advertising, divide by what you spent, and multiply by 100. That gives you your return on ad spend as a percentage. But that simple formula conceals three complications that, if you ignore them, will give you answers that are either dangerously optimistic or unfairly pessimistic. First, revenue is not profit. A campaign generating $20,000 in revenue from $5,000 in ad spend sounds like 300% ROI. But if your delivery costs are $17,000, your actual gross profit is $3,000 against $5,000 spent. That's a negative 40% ROI. You need to run your numbers against gross margin, not top line revenue. Second, first transaction value is not lifetime value. A dental practice spending $150 to acquire a new patient looks questionable against a $200 cleaning. But that patient relationship spans 8 years at $800 a year, $6,400 in lifetime value. That same $150 acquisition cost is now extraordinary. The businesses that understand lifetime value make smarter, more aggressive advertising decisions than those optimizing only for the first sale. Third, media spend is not total cost. Your true advertising cost includes agency fees, landing page development, creative production, call tracking tools, and internal labor. If you're spending $3,000 on ads and $600 on management, your real cost is $3,600. Run your ROI against the fully loaded number, the metrics that actually matter. Let's walk through the metrics that connect your ad spend to real business outcomes. Cost per lead is your bridge between spending and revenue, how much you're paying for each inquiry your advertising generates. But here's the nuance. Define lead carefully. Raw form submissions are not the same as qualified prospects. Track both and know your qualification rate. Cost per acquisition is your true north metric, the actual cost of acquiring a paying customer. You calculate it by dividing your cost per lead by your close rate. $80 per lead at a 30% close rate equals $267 per customer. Whether that number is good or bad depends entirely on what that customer is worth to your business. Return on ad spend, ROAS, measures revenue generated per advertising dollar. But there's a minimum profitable ROAS that most businesses never calculate. Divide one by your gross margin. At 40% margin, you need at least 2.5 times return just to break even on the advertising investment. Below that, every campaign dollar is costing you more than it's making you. Conversion tracking, the foundation everything else depends on. Here's the hard truth. If your conversion tracking isn't set up correctly, none of these calculations are possible. And in the majority of accounts we audit, tracking is either broken, incomplete, or measuring the wrong things entirely. Google Analytics 4 needs to be properly installed with conversion events defined for every meaningful action. Form submissions, phone call clicks, appointment bookings, not just page views. actual lead generating actions. Your Google Ads account needs its own conversion tracking that feeds the smart bidding algorithm. If Google's algorithm doesn't have accurate conversion data, it cannot optimize your campaigns toward the outcomes that actually matter to your business. Meta requires both the pixel and the conversions API. The pixel alone has significant gaps due to iOS privacy changes and ad blockers. The conversions API fills those gaps with server-side tracking. Together, they give you the most complete picture of how your Meta campaigns are performing. And call tracking is non-negotiable for any business where a significant percentage of inquiries come by phone. We use tools like CallRail to assign unique phone numbers to each traffic source. So when someone calls from a Google ad, we know it came from Google. For businesses where 50% of leads come by phone, missing call tracking means your ROI data is wrong by 50%. The attribution problem. Here's something that trips up even sophisticated advertisers. Last click attribution, the default for most platforms, gives 100% of the credit to the last thing someone clicked before converting. But the actual customer journey is almost never that simple. A prospect might see your Meta ad on Monday, search your business name on Thursday, and fill out a form on Friday after clicking an organic result. Last click attributes that conversion to organic search. Meta gets no credit, and you make budget decisions based on that incomplete picture. Meta's contribution to your results is systematically underestimated by last click attribution. To get a more accurate picture, look at view-through conversions, monitor whether your branded search volume increases when Meta spend increases, and consider holdout testing, running Meta for one audience segment and not another, and comparing conversion rates. The right framework is a portfolio approach. Evaluate your paid advertising as a system, not as individual platforms competing for credit. Google Search, Meta retargeting, and Meta cold audience campaigns each play different roles in moving a prospect from awareness to conversion. The blended cost per acquisition across the full system is your real number. What good numbers look like? Let me give you some real benchmarks across common industries so you have a reference point. For home services, a well-managed Google Ads campaign should produce leads in the $80 to $200 range, with cost per acquisition between $200 and $500. Against average transaction values of $1,500 or more, that's a strong first transaction return with significant lifetime value upside. For remodeling and renovation, leads typically run $100 to $300 with cost per acquisition between $400 and $1,000. Against a $35,000 kitchen remodel, even a $1,000 acquisition cost is less than 3% of project value. For dental practices, the lifetime value math is what makes the economics extraordinary. A patient worth $6,400 in lifetime gross profit means even a $500 acquisition cost delivers over 1,000% lifetime ROI. For professional services on monthly retainers, a client relationship worth $72,000 over 2 years makes a $600 acquisition cost less than 1% of lifetime value. The monthly review process. Good ROI doesn't happen by accident. It comes from a disciplined review process that connects spend to outcomes on a regular cadence. Weekly, you should be reviewing cost per conversion trends, flagging anything that's moved more than 20%, and cleaning up irrelevant search terms in Google Ads. Monthly, you do a comprehensive review. Spend, leads, cost per lead, customers acquired, cost per acquisition, revenue, and ROI by channel. Quarterly, you step back and evaluate the full picture against your business targets and lifetime value calculations. The output of every review is a specific action list. What to adjust, what to scale, what to cut. Data only has value if it changes decisions. 5 levers move ROI in paid advertising. Conversion rate optimization is the highest leverage. A 1% improvement from 4 to 5% is a 20% reduction in cost per lead with the same spend. Improving quality score in Google Ads reduces your cost per click. Tightening targeting improves lead quality and close rate, even if it reduces volume. Increasing average transaction value through upsells and packages directly improves your ROI calculation. And investing in customer retention and lifetime value multiplies the return on every acquisition dollar you've already spent. At Pulse Media Group, this framework is the foundation of every client relationship we manage. We believe you deserve to know exactly what your advertising investment is generating. Not just clicks and impressions, but leads, customers, revenue, and real return. If you're running ads without this level of clarity, or if your tracking is broken and your ROI numbers are a guess, that's exactly the kind of problem we solve. Reach out to Pulse Media Group and let's take an honest look at what your campaigns are actually doing. Thanks for watching. Remember to hit that sub button and follow for more.